Shot it 4 times in the head. It is 7 minutes past 7 o'clock. Let's go to the big guns of politics now, and the major stakeholders in the drugs in sport scandal have come together to discuss the revelations overnight. The AFL has confirmed on Seven's Drugs in Footy Summit it's now considering hiring full-time integrity officers as a way of ensuring drugs and organised crime is stopped.
When you think about the high stakes in our game today, and you think about things like compliance when it comes to the salary cap, and you think about things like performance-enhancing drugs, you talk about things like gambling, I think it's very, very important that every club think about having a full-time integrity officer because, you actually want to minimise the risk of those things happening. And if you can put someone in place that can help you minimise that risk and report up to your board, then that's far, far more appropriate than investing in another coach, for example.
Sports officials say they're frustrated at the lack of detail with the Crime Commission findings, but it could be at least 6 months before doping authorities have more information on guilty parties.
Well, let's check in with our big guns of politics now. Shadow Treasurer Joe Hockey and Labor MP Kevin Rudd. Good morning to both of you. Look, we'll start with the drugs and sports scandal, and the sports ministers are also meeting with major stakeholders, as we know. They did last night. Kevin, does the government have more of a role to play, do you think, in stamping this out?
There's a partnership which is necessary here, government setting standards and having the enforcing agencies like the Anti-Doping Authority and cooperation with the states. And secondly, as Andrew Demetrio just said, the idea of integrity officers in major clubs who are engaged in, let's call it, big name, big game and therefore big money sports, that's something worth considering as well. If the partnership works, then everyone's going to be happy with the integrity of the game. But I think, as Joe and I said last week, we've actually got to get this down to the nuts and bolts of who, which clubs and how big's the problem, because I'm concerned, I think we're all concerned about, shall I say, the public regaining its absolute confidence in the integrity of our major games.
Joe, a lot of sports administrators, sports superstars are saying, hey, just come out with the facts, because being so secretive means there's all the scuttlebutt around. You had Paul, the new head of the ARU, at that press conference. Nothing since has been talked about rugby union.
Oh, no. Koshy, I think it's been handled really badly. I think every sports person has been besmirched. The government and the Australian Crime Commission haven't come out with any details. To describe it last week as the blackest moment in Australian sport, and then to have no sunlight shone in the last 7 days is just extraordinary. I'm, as a sports fan, as a lover of sport, a lover of rugby and rugby league and AFL, I don't understand what the hell's going on. And quite frankly, it's not good enough. I mean, it's just basically painted, a black smirch right across all sports people, and nothing's come out.
Yep.
There's no specific allegations. I mean, I'm heading out to meet with the Penrith Rugby League team on Wednesday. I heard they were one of the teams named. I thought to myself, is it right to be going out? But then I saw Gus Gould on TV last night. He said, we've done nothing wrong. We're absolutely clear. And I thought, well, what the hell was all that about?
Yep.
Yeah, I think everyone would agree with you there. All right, I promise we're not going to talk about this every single week, but of course it won't go away. I want to play a little sound up for you, Kevin, to listen to the leadership speculation that will not die down.
Look, I think it is likely that they'll put him back. The Gillard government goes from one catastrophe after another. I mean, why not?
You certainly are putting yourself out there. This week you publicly criticised mining tax, Indigenous policy. There was the Call Me Maybe video that went out on YouTube. Are you simply fueling the speculation by doing all of that?
Joe and I have sung on air before, and to general...
Gee, I regret that.
Yeah, to general critical acclaim. And it's now gone safely to the National Archives, will never be seen again. The other thing you mentioned was Aboriginal policy. Let's just be clear about that. I'm the bloke who brought down the Closing the Gap targets way back when, and my suggestion is that we need to place more emphasis on education, as the Prime Minister herself said when she delivered the Closing the Gap report.
OK.
So I just think...
You're not really answering it.
No, hang on, I'm going to the parts of what she said.
Is the issue that whatever you do now, that it's seen in a leadership context? Is that getting annoying?
Well, Kochie, when we started a program this morning with that well-known and well-informed Labor Party source, Malcolm Turnbull, objective observer of all things political and with no leadership aspirations himself, and that's the basis for a discussion this morning. Give us a break. You know, I said a week or so ago everyone should take a long cold shower. What I'd say to Malcolm and you, Joe, is it's time to jump in the ice bath.
What have
okay?
I said,
And
Kevin?
stay
What
there.
have I said?
It's written
I'm just
all,
sitting here.
It's written all over your
No, I
face.
believe you, Kevin. I believe you've got no leadership ambitions. I believe it.
Well, Joe, listening to what you've been saying in Parliament this week, can I just say, stay in that ice bath. Kochie, I'm wearing a blue tie today. It's got ladybirds on it. I'm told there's a comet passing Sydney next week. There's bound to be astrological significance in that in terms of the future.
That's a red tie,
Give
so-
us a break. It's not happening.
No, sure.
Not
sure.
a
Thanks.
candidate.
Never, ever, ever
No.
getting back
no,
together.
it's not happening. No. We'll see you next Friday on Sunrise.
Your tongue bleeding and biting it.
Ice bath, Joe. Ice bath.
All right. Okay, guys, we'll see you next week.
Thank you both.
Righto, can't wait.
Have a good weekend. You know what? It's 23